Hello, and welcome to I'm Too Busy. I'm Christina Flach, your host. I'm a celebrity makeup artist and CEO with a passion for all things beauty, wellness, and success. On this show, I'll take you on exciting journeys, sharing personal stories and insights from inspiring entrepreneurs. Together, we will explore manifestation, health, wellness, and the secrets to thriving in life and business. Let's jump in and get inspired. Hello, and welcome to another episode of I'm Too Busy, the show where we spotlight trailblazers, shaping the future by defying convention and leading with purpose. I am your host, Christina Flach, and today's guest is a renowned futurist, entrepreneur, and award-winning author whose research and insights are transforming the way we live, work, and age. Please welcome the incredible Maddy Dychtwald.
Oh, thank you, Christina. What a great introduction. It's lovely to be here with you.
And I have to say, Maddy is one of my clients who I've been working with for a few years, and I adore her. So I was so excited to get to interview you today.
I feel the same way.
You're so nice. You've spent almost 40 years doing what you've been doing and studying the impact of longevity. What first sparked your fascination with aging and its ripple effect on society?
Well, keep in mind that we're all aging. I mean, from the minute you're born to the day you die, that's called aging. And like it or not, we're all doing it. And I was actually living in Los Angeles, and I was working as an actress at the time, doing pretty well. It was really exciting and interesting work. But I was in my late 20s, and one of the things that I noticed was women who were just a little bit older than I was at that time were being told that they were too old. And I'm like, what? That is so crazy. They're in their 30s. And then that was one thing that happened. The second thing that happened is I met my husband, and he was in the middle of writing a book. It took him 9 years to write, called The Age Wave, that talked about the shifts that were taking place in our overall society, how we were moving from a very youth-focused and youth-dominated world to one that's more dominated by older adults. And I became fascinated. I totally wanted to dig down and understand that, and understand how is it different for women than men? What are some of the challenges that we face? And having done this, digging deep into the research and getting to know the cutting edge scientists and academics who are involved in this field of aging and longevity, specifically longevity, I realized that being in it as a long time is a great thing, and understanding the nuances of what is new and what is now is also really important. So I try to combine those two things.
It's fascinating. Age Wave has advised some of the world's biggest companies. How do you help them adapt to a longer living population?
Well, some companies think this is the best thing that ever happened to them. The fact that people are living longer, and they want to help people live better longer. So that would be like healthcare companies and some pharmaceutical companies. It would also be financial services companies. The more consumer-focused companies that create consumer goods, they're a little bit like, well, we're going to get the older adults anyway. So trying to convert them and trying to get them to see that as one gets older, not only do they have more money to spend, but they're more willing to spend it. And they're not brand loyal necessarily. They like to try new things. So letting these consumer-focused brands really understand that on a deep level, that alone makes a huge difference. And then let them see that, the stereotypes of aging, they no longer apply. I mean, the way I'm aging, I'm 75 years old. The way
no one would believe you're 75, Maddy. You are such a smoke show. I mean, you look like you're 35, honestly. It's remarkable.
Thank you for saying that. And I do take that as a compliment, but You know, the truth is that there's a lot of women out there who are in their 70s and 80s who are looking good and feeling good and taking life on in a very proactive way. And I love that.
I do as well. You and I have had many conversations about all our woo woo and all our gut health things, well, all the different things that we believe in. And it's so fascinating. I love speaking with you because you teach me so much. In
Thank you.
Ageless Aging, you offer women a guide to increasing their health span and brain span, not just their lifespan.
That's
What
right.
are what are the biggest myths do you think about aging that you aim to debunk?
Okay, that's a very big question, but let me just like dive into one side of it that you relate to, I'm sure. And that is that as we get older, from studies we've done at AgeWave, what we see is when you ask people, what is your biggest concern about longevity, about living a long life? The number one thing is their brain span. They
Mm,
don't want to go down that rabbit hole of Alzheimer's disease or cognitive decline of any kind. And the bad news is that while women have won the longevity lottery, we live about 5 to 6 years longer than men, and that's good news. When it comes to health span and brain span, there's a gender gap, and we're on the
interesting.
losing end of that gender gap. In
And
fact,
why
women
is
are
that?
twice as likely let me put this in a different context. Women
Okay.
get Alzheimer's disease twice as often as men.
And why is that, do you think?
You know, scientists who are a lot smarter than me aren't sure, but there are a couple extenuating factors that seem to have something to do with it. One is hormones. We
Mm,
have estrogen that protects us up to a point, and then once that estrogen drops off,
mm,
we start to see our gray matter shrink. Um, our ability to sleep at night decreases, which really impacts our brain because when we're sleeping, that's when the lymphatic system actually takes the toxins, takes the trash out,
hmm.
gets rid of all the toxins that build up in our system, and so on. So, those are just a couple of the reasons why, but there may be a deeper cellular level reason that I don't know.
It's really interesting that people don't realize how important sleep is. And it is, it's so important. And people brag, oh, I only need 4 hours of sleep. You don't. You need your body, your brain, your cells, they need to rest and rejuvenate. And the only way that's going to happen is during sleep. Your research into women and money it's groundbreaking. Why is financial wellness such a critical topic for women today?
Okay, when people think, women in particular, when we think about our health and well-being and how to increase our health span and our brain span, as well as our lifespan, we think about what we eat. And we think about our sleep and we think about our fitness and maybe even our social connections. But there are a few things that we leave out of the equation. And one of those things is our financial well-being. We've done studies at AgeWave that tell us that women in particular, but men and women, are both more concerned with having financial peace of mind
Mm,
than being wealthy. And why, you might ask, is that a big deal? It's because when your finances and your financial picture as you get older is not in good shape, your cortisol levels go up, your stress really increases, your anxiety levels increase, you're a little bit in a mode of like, what am I going to do next? How am I going to earn? And you don't have the kind of choices that you might have if you had financial well-being. So finances, I think, are one of the most essential pieces of the puzzle. We've got to get our financial house in order. And, frankly, that starts when you're young, but you're never too old to get it together.
right, right. It does need to start at a much younger age. You've led more than 25 major research studies. Which one shifted your own thinking the most?
We did a study a few years back with Merrill Lynch and Bank of America, looking at women and money specifically, and I was
Hmm.
so proud to have the opportunity to lead that study. And some of the things we learned in that were like, whoa, this is groundbreaking. Everyone needs to know this. So let me give you an example. So we know that there's a pay gap, right?
Hmm.
It's been going on forever, and they say it's going to take till 2050 to get rid of that pay gap. So that's a little
Wow.
disturbing all by itself. But if a man and a woman start the same job on the
Hmm.
same day and with the pay gap, they both work to, let's say, age 65, and then both of them retire on the same day, uh, the woman will have earned over $500,000 less than the man. Now that's with
That's
nothing else
crazy.
changing. But then let's add something to that. Most of the time, we know that women are caregivers. They care
Right.
for their parents and their grandparents, and they care for their spouses, and they care for their children. So if you build in to that equation of women and men, starting a job the same day, same job, but different pays, and then going all the way to retirement age, you would see that that number, because of Social Security and lost promotions and savings, not incremental savings, not accruing to the same
Hmm.
extent, that number for that woman will not be $500,000, but it'll be over $1,000,001. That's the
Wow.
difference, and that's significant. I mean, think about if you had that $1,000,001 to
It's life
invest.
changing. It's
It's
life
life
changing
changing.
because you can live on the interest of 1,000,001 if
That's
it's
right. So
properly
it's the
invested.
difference between having financial peace of mind and going into a continuous cortisol high, which is going to make you feel bad, look bad, and probably increase the likelihood that your lifespan will actually go down instead of up.
Wow. How do you personally apply the science of longevity to your everyday life?
Everybody's been asking me that question lately, and I my friends think I'm obsessed, and they actually, I don't think they enjoy going out to dinner with me that much anymore. um, one
I
of
don't believe that.
it's first of all, I have not eaten red meat, which, by the way, if you eat the right kind of red meat, it's not a horrible thing at all. But I haven't eaten red meat in 40 years. So that's a good thing. I eat only organic. And I
Hmm.
think because of the environmental climate changes we're seeing right now, that most physicians who are savvy will tell you eat organic. If
Hmm.
you can afford it, eat organic. I wake up in the morning at the same time every day to keep my circadian rhythms in
Hmm.
alignment. And I spend the first 10 minutes of the day just taking in that sun. It's the greatest feeling, but it's also a great way to align your circadian rhythms.
Hmm.
I exercise, try to exercise every single day. Try to do it early in the morning, before breakfast, if possible, because if you do exercise before you eat, um, it actually increases the effectiveness of that exercise, which, come on, that's
Interesting.
like, who wouldn't do that?
Yeah, why wouldn't you? If you know you get a bonus point for working out before breakfast, that's really amazing.
Yeah.
You and you and Ken were awarded the Esalen Prize for advancing human potential. What does that recognition mean to you?
Oh, it means a lot. First of all, for those of you who don't know the Esalen Institute, it was created by Michael Murphy on lands that his family owned in Big Sur, California. It's one of the most gorgeous places you will ever be in your whole life. And Michael and the team of people that he's put together are obsessed with human potential, with us, instead of going down that rabbit hole of negativity, finding ways to uh, live up to our human potential through through yoga, through breathing, through meditation, through all kinds of different ways of It's more than that. I mean, it's so much more than that. I don't even know where to begin to explain Esalen, but us getting that award meant the world to us, especially because my husband actually was a group leader at the Esalen Institute when he was in his
Oh, wow.
20s. Yeah.
That's amazing.
He wrote
What
his
are,
first book while he was there.
wow. Oh, so that's like, getting approval from somewhere you've begun your career. That's so
Exactly. It's like a
exciting.
legacy thing. And then for them to
Yes.
include me, I love that.
Wow. That's the frosting on the cake. I love it. What are some cultural myths about aging that you would like to permanently retire?
Yeah. The biggest one is one that affects all of us, especially women, and that is that ageism is the last acceptable ism. I mean, we think it's okay. It's so baked into our society that we think, calling somebody old is a negative. We assume that that's like a negative thing to
Right.
say to someone, whereas in fact, oh, you're old is more like a truism.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean, we have to get rid of it, and it's far worse for women than men. Women not only face ageism, but they face something called lookism. We're so judged by the way we look because traditionally women were valued for their ability to have children, frankly.
Right.
And so, being attractive and having the kind of physical body that could uh, easily have a child, that was what people were looking for in a woman. That was what was valued in womanhood. And some of those myths of ageism prevail today, and they really prevail in the workplace. I mean, women and men have ageism coming their way, but women in particular, if they don't look a certain way and act a certain way, they're considered over the hill, and
Hmm.
that's not good for any of us who are getting older. But it's also not good for our overall culture to take the largest segment of our population and deem them over the hill, past their
Right.
prime, not
Right.
able to contribute to society. It's society that's losing out on that.
Right. I mean, there are many cultures that honor the people that are aging, and I wish hopefully that will change in our culture as well. You've explored aging across gender, industry, and healthcare. What do women specifically need to hear now about owning their own longevity journey?
When I sat down to write Ageless Aging, which I'm very proud became a national bestseller,
I'm
uh,
so excited for you.
it
It's
is. It's really
amazing.
cool. It was the first time anything that I wrote became a national bestseller. But
And
I
you were
knew,
just honored by the San Francisco. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm so proud of you. You were just honored with an amazing article in the San Francisco Chronicle.
yeah,
It's so
oh yeah,
exciting.
thank you. Yeah, that was
Congratulations.
pretty cool. I loved it. And there were some great photos, including one with me and my dog. So I love
Oh,
that. That was my favorite one.
yes, for sure. So back to the question.
Yeah.
You've explored aging across gender, industry, and healthcare. What do women specifically need to hear now about owning their longevity journey?
Yeah, so when I was deciding whether to write this book or not, The Ageless Aging, and I was looking at it both for women and men, frankly, in the beginning.
Hmm.
So I went out there and I researched what books exist. And what I saw were two interesting things. One is there were a lot of books on sleep or diet or exercise or social connection, but there wasn't one that really told the story of this holistic recipe that all these ingredients work together,
Hmm.
impacting each other in some very positive and oftentimes negative ways.
Hmm.
But even more alarming, I saw there were no books that were focused specifically on women or even written by women. Very few, if any, books at all. And I wanted to change that dynamic because we women, we're living longer than men, and we ought to be leading this longevity revolution, showing men how it gets done. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It's not all about, taking all these crazy supplements that are very expensive. There are some very simple action steps that we can all take to live better longer. And we women, we need to show guys how it's done.
Of course we do, because then they'll do it. So why don't you tell me a few ones that come to mind that are really, game changing and important to you?
One that's been getting a lot of attention lately is hydration. I mean, drinking water and making sure that
Hmm.
it stays in your body. Go out and buy some instead of buying all these supplements to add into your water. Buy some Celtic salt. Put
Hmm.
it under your tongue, a dime size, and then make sure to drink enough water. And what is enough water? It's like half your body weight in ounces on a daily basis. And you know what? You're going to feel more energetic than you ever felt before. Just try it for a few days and you won't believe the difference. Uh,
I I preach this all day long with everyone I meet. What else? Tell me a couple more.
Simple things like, okay, I eat an anti-inflammatory diet because inflammation is a huge issue as we get older, which is about inflammation. And that's like the aches and pains of getting older. And you don't want to have
Mhm.
those aches and pains
No,
of getting older. So, you know, eliminate the seed oils. So, you've been hearing
that's
that song
huge.
for
Oh,
a
yes.
while.
Yes.
Eliminating gluten. And why? Not that wheat is inherently bad for you, but the way it's processed in the United States,
Hmm.
it's bad for you.
Right.
It's
So
filled with,
what does your anti-inflammatory diet look like? Tell me a day, like give me an example of a day of what
okay.
you eat.
In the morning, I will have um, avocado toast, um, organic avocados.
Hmm.
A little bit more expensive, but well worth it on a nut seed bread that I get because it's
Hmm.
gluten free.
Hmm.
It's yummy, and I add either a poached egg or a scrambled egg to that so
Hmm.
that I can get some. I need protein. I really, as you get older, women in particular need more protein, and my
Hmm.
body craves protein. So I'll have that for breakfast. I do eat at least 3 meals a day. I'll have a salad with a protein of some sort for lunch, and
Hmm.
for dinner, and I hydrate all day long. I
Right, right,
usually have
right.
either coffee or tea in the morning. I start my day with lemon water. Actually, every other day I have lemon water, and every other day I have apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of that in water. I think it really just keeps the body moving well.
I agree.
And then for dinner, I am protein forward. I have protein, and then I have lots of veggies and a salad, and maybe some dark chocolate for dessert if I'm in the mood for something sweet. I keep it pretty simple, very simple.
But clean.
Clean. I've really cut back on drinking alcohol because of the negative effects.
Hmm.
The most recent
Right.
studies tell us even in small quantities, even wine and hard alcohol can have a negative impact on your body. So, since I stopped doing that, I can eat almost anything I want during the day and I'm not going to gain weight.
That's amazing. What's one trend on the horizon that will completely surprise us about the next generation of aging?
Hmm. I think, oh, gee, that's a really hard question.
We can skip it.
No, no, no. I'll try to answer it. I think that there's a few. One is I think we're starting to understand that sleep science is morphing into circadian rhythm science,
Hmm.
and that I know everybody says you should get at least 7 hours, 7 to 9 hours a night sleep, but that's based on studies that have never been done on older adults. Um,
Mm,
all the
interesting.
big studies have been done on people under the age of 65. So I spoke with Dr. Phyllis C., who is a sleep scientist and physician at Northwestern. She told me that she'd rather get 5 quality sleep hours than 7 or 8 light sleep hours. So what does that mean? We want to take that sleep and look at the quality of it. it's not just quantity, but quality. And
Hmm.
look at whether you're getting the deep and the REM sleep. And, many people are probably like, oh, whatever. But it isn't whatever. That's when your brain takes out the garbage. And
Right.
so I would suggest studies have been done that tell us that if you like get an aura ring, for instance, or a whoop, that's going to really give you a bird's eye view into the kind of sleep that you get. Now, yeah, there are other apps that will tell you, but those are supposed to be the most accurate ones.
Do you use those?
I do. Okay. Here's the truth. Yes, I use an Apple Watch, a sports watch that's probably gives me way too much information, and I wear an Aura ring. But every so often I take off the Aura ring because it starts to drive me crazy.
Right. I get that.
Sometimes too much information is not what you need.
Right. It puts a lot of pressure on you to feel like, oh my God, I'm not sleeping enough. I mean,
I
because
know.
like, what are you supposed to do with that?
Well, in the begin, what I found, listen, you can get an Aura ring and then do a 3-month subscription. And I would urge people to do that because it works really well. For 3 months, you get a sense of, okay, how many hours am I spending in bed versus how many
Mm,
hours am I actually sleeping? And then what's the quality of that sleep? And if there ways that you can like make tweaks in your life, like for instance, intermittent fasting if it's done the right way, which is only 12 to 13 hours of non-eating, which is the simplest thing to do. Uh, if you can do that and not eat and eat dinner early enough so that you go to sleep on a empty stomach, so at least 4 hours before bedtime, finish your dinner and
hmm.
not eat another thing until the morning. Um, that that's going to impact your sleep in a positive way.
Okay, we're going to talk about my favorite subject right now, which is gut health that you and I have discussed. How does gut health affect us as we age?
Okay, I think that we're just at the very beginning of understanding what gut health is about. From the scientists and researchers that I spoke to, the one thing that they told me for sure is there definitely is a gut-brain connection
Hmm.
and a
Hmm.
gut-brain axis. So what you're doing, what you're eating, and how your microbiome in your gut is behaving definitely impacts your thoughts, your feelings,
Hmm.
and your cognitive well-being. And that's something that I think everybody ought to know. Uh, One of the only women neuroscientists that I spoke to told me that the only supplement she takes is a probiotic. And we're beginning to see that the probiotics are becoming far more specific. They're
Hmm.
becoming precision probiotics. And the one that everyone is touting right now is Akkermansia. Akkermansia, you can buy it. I mean, it's available, pretty easily available. Pendulums, and they have a version of it, which is a very good company to, I have no relationship with them, so
Right, 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 right.
but yeah, they have a great Akkermansia product, and they're saying that Akkermansia gives you a lot of the same effects as the GLP-1s that everybody's like crazy for, the Ozempics and
Interesting.
Wegovia. So it sort of puts a damper on your appetite, which is a good thing. And
Right.
it also has a very positive effect on your microbiome. For instance, I was having this is probably an overshare. You can always
No,
cut it
God, are you kidding? You know I love all this.
I was having some really bad gut issues, and people were suggesting I try this and that and whatever, and I tried them all, and nothing was helping. And then I tried Akkermansia, and because it has an impact on creating a healthy gut lining,
Mm,
I like within 2 days I was healthy again.
that's amazing. It's so remarkable how our bodies can heal from the
Yeah,
inside out and quickly when it gets on the right path.
that's
If
right.
if you were designing the perfect longevity focused product or service for women today, what would it include?
Well, I think that there are some products out there that are in, most of them are in sort of the startup phase, but early phases anyway, that look at women's health in a more holistic manner.
Hmm.
And I think that that's number one. I think you can't just look at, oh, I need to change my diet or I need to exercise more. You need to look at the holistic connection between all of the different ingredients that go into living better longer. So I would definitely say that. Number two, I would say that having a product that addresses or at least gives the knowledge and information required on hormone health and
Hmm.
menopause and tries to correct some of the misleading information that's been out there for so long that many gynecologists still tout as if it's gospel, and yet it's wrong. So yeah, I
Interesting.
think that that's a very key component, that if you can get your hormones replaced in a way that makes sense for your body and your health needs, that will take you far.
You've collaborated with all these giants across finance, pharma, and tech. Which industry do you think is still missing the mark when it comes to serving the aging female demographic, if at all?
Christina, I don't think anyone's gotten it exactly right. Um, I think that they're trying.
Hmm.
Using financial services as an example, I think that we're beginning to see more women executives in the financial services world. And as that happens, we're beginning to see that they understand that women are in the process of inheriting up to $30 trillion in assets because their parents are passing away and their
Hmm.
spouses are generally passing away as well. So they're about to come into a great deal of money as a demographic unit.
Hmm.
And with that in mind, the financial services industry is not designed to really care about women in the way that women want to be cared about. I mean, they
Hmm.
talk about numbers and graphs and charts, whereas women are looking for examples like, what does this mean for me? Will I
Right.
be able to afford to send my kids or my grandkids to college? Can I live in this home for as long as I'd like to? What are my options from a financial perspective? These are the
Hmm.
things women want to know. They don't want to know, you know, the number. The number is just,
A number.
it's not
Right.
everything.
Right. You and Ken have built this visionary empire together. How do you guys stay grounded in your partnership while shaping the future?
Well, I think that, yeah, we just, we try to keep grounded in life. And we we made a pact a long time ago that we would try to spend every weekend together whenever possible. So if we're traveling for work, we try to make sure that we're together when it comes to the weekends. For instance, I've got to be in Switzerland to go to a conference in September, and I was going to be gone for 10 days. So instead of me just going to Switzerland, we're going to go to Europe first. And after
Nice.
I fly off to Switzerland, Ken's going to come home. But we're not going to, we try to keep connected because we could all get lost.
Yeah, it's
I
true.
mean, I'm sure that you've experienced that in your relationships.
Yes, definitely. What's your go-to guilty pleasure that feels totally ageless?
Um, you're going to hate me for mine. I love to go to an early morning Pilates class. I
Are you
mean, as
kidding? I
lame as that
agree.
sounds,
That's
it's just,
not lame.
I know, I like crawl out of bed and like, oh no, maybe
I
I
don't want to.
shouldn't do. And then I go and I like start to feel better by the minute. And by the time I
Hmm.
get home, I'm feeling so good that it
Right.
sets me up for the rest of the day.
I think
So
that's
I
brilliant.
look for ways that I can, I used to get a buzz from alcohol. Now I get a buzz from exercise, get those endorphins going.
Right. What's your one daily ritual that keeps you mentally and emotionally youthful? I know we've talked about exercise, but is there anything else?
Yeah, I have trouble meditating, but I
Hmm.
definitely make the effort to meditate every day. I'm
Hmm.
terrible at it. Some people say, "Oh, I'm so good," and over time I get so much better. Some days I do okay, and other days I'm just like my mind is moving in a million directions. But
Hmm.
at least I get to see that. At least
Right.
I
You're
get to
aware of
say,
it.
exactly, exactly. And I say, okay, gotta calm down. I'm too busy going, it's like playing pinball machines.
I've
I
been,
try not to be in that space because I find that if I can be focused,
mhm.
it helps my brain be happier.
Right. I've been lately when I wake up first thing, I turn on the Calm app and do the daily Calm. It's like 10 minutes or 7 minutes.
That's a good
And then
thing.
I stretch in the morning while I do it. So I'm kind of like waking up and it's positive and peaceful. I don't know.
That's a great thing to do. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, do
Yeah.
you do any kind of I do a calm thing before I go to sleep.
Oh, I do it then too. I have some that, and then there's all different ones depending. I had a big meeting today, so last night I listened to one about manifesting goals for work, and so I try to shift the meditation depending upon where my mind is at that day. Have you done something
So
similar?
I'd be curious to know what are your like key things that you do for you because you're way into this, Christina.
I am so into this. That's why when you and I met, I fell in love with you because we're like from the same tribe. I think consistency um is super important. Like the exercising. It doesn't mean I used to think, oh, I have to do a really hard workout. And now it doesn't to me going for a walk, Pilates, yoga. I feel that just doing even if it's a short period. This morning I took the dog on a walk and I went on the bike in my gym and I just did literally 5 minutes really hard. And that
Mm,
was fine. And if I get something else in today, like if I go to a Pilates or do another hike or work out more, I at least have the guilt part of it out of my head. So I can focus on work all day without going, oh God, I gotta work out. I gotta work out. I hate that thought,
yeah.
that you're constantly thinking about that. So I think being consistent with sleep and food and laughing, enjoying what you do. I think this is one big thing that people forget about. And, you and I have this in common. We love our work.
Yeah.
Like, I love all parts of my work. I love being the makeup artist. I love doing the shows. I like having my companies. And I think you're the same. And it shows in our energy that we have joy and happiness in our life. I think
I
that is
think you're
one
so
thing
right.
that
I think joy is very underestimated as
huge.
one of
Agreed.
yeah, it's huge. In
Yeah.
fact, I actually, one of the scientists that I spoke to was from France, and she also was was studying Alzheimer's disease. And I said,
Mhm.
okay, you live in France. I bet you drink wine. And she said, well, yeah, I do. I said, so how do you like get okay with that, knowing the impact that it can have on your brain health? And she goes, everything can have a negative effect and everything can have a positive effect. And what I realize is having a glass of wine with dinner brings me so much joy that the net is positive. I'm like, you
I
can't argue with
agree.
that.
You can't. I totally agree. Speaking of happy, where is your happy place?
I feel really lucky to be living in the Bay Area where it's so gorgeous. And we happen to have this gorgeous view where we live. It's a very like Napa Valley kind of view.
It
And,
is.
just looking, this is going to sound a little bougie, so
Oh,
sorry.
stop.
Okay, so we have this gorgeous view, and recently we've been in our home for over 30 years, 35 years. And so we recently added an infrared sauna into our bathroom with
Love
the
it.
view. And
Oh,
being in that infrared sauna, looking out at all the mountains, I don't know.
And the
You can't get
trees,
much
it's
better
beautiful.
than that.
No, your home is very serene and peaceful. It has a really great energy to it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no, I always enjoy going there because it just feels you can feel the positive energy in your house and in your life. What do you think is the best advice you've ever ignored and now you're glad you did?
That's it. I think that, okay, I have a good one.
Okay,
Um,
go.
I've had friends say to me, why do you keep working? How come you didn't retire when you were 65 or 70? And how long do you think you can work for? And I'm like, I don't want to do, I mean, I can't even imagine what I would do with
I
my time.
I know. I know. Like what would we do?
I know,
That's
plus
when
I
you die.
love,
You be I saw this amazing quote. I'll send it to you via text, but it said something like you begin to die slowly when you stop having purpose, when you stop living and laughing and I'm obliterating it, but it really is. If you want to die quickly, stop having waking up with some purpose.
yeah,
I think
I mean,
it's
I feel like I
huge.
wake up with so much purpose. That's a real, and by the way, that's one of the holistic ingredients
Hmm.
to live better longer. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And I include it in when I go out and talk to people, I included it in my book. There's some, literally, there's some scientific data that backs that up. So yeah, you're 100% right.
What do you what do you do when your day isn't flowing?
I try to take a break.
And what
I
do you do during that break?
Well, during that break, it depends. Sometimes I'll just hang out with my dog for a few minutes.
Hmm.
Um, she's like such an emotional, calming agent. I mean, she is an emotional well-being person or
Right.
not a human, dog, thing, being,
Yes, yes.
human, but being. I'll um, go do a little stretching, lie down on a foam roller and try to meditate, um, go exercise, take an exercise break. I try to take some exercise snacks during the day,
Hmm.
especially when I'm feeling uptight and
Hmm.
uncomfortable in myself.
Right,
And
right.
I mean, there's always those moments when we're feeling out of sorts. So
Yeah,
for
we
me, I
all
guess
feel
exercise is my go-to. And so
right,
I'll do it in small little, like 5 minutes just to stretch,
right. Just
that
go
kind
get
of
the
thing.
mail, go walk and get the mail, get some fresh air. Sometimes you just need
Exactly.
to
Just
get out
change
of the
your
situation,
change your mode of
change
action.
your mode. Let's talk a little bit about the blue zones. Um, I know you and I've talked about this before, but what are your thoughts on the blue zones and the people that are centenarians?
Yeah, it's gotten a lot of great attention. I love Dan's work. I know him and think he's great. He's gotten some negative attention lately, but there's no. I personally think that when you look at the different blue zones, wherever
Hmm.
they may be, Sardinia,
Hmm.
California, whatever, that there's some ingredients to which they're all practicing. Uh, Things like eating locally and eating, fresh, plant-based, a
Hmm.
plant-based diet.
Hmm.
That's going to make you live better longer. There's no doubt about it. Um, Having exercise in your life, but not necessarily, let's get to the gym. Instead, it's like built into your life, getting into the garden and picking things,
Hmm.
walking, taking a hike with friends in your neighborhood,
Right.
walking to somebody's house. I mean, there are some very simple things that are universal that are part of this whole blue zone world, I guess you would say. I
Hmm.
think Dan was saying that there are certain towns in Ohio that had billboards for fast food restaurants. And when you removed those billboards for the fast food restaurants, it seemed that people got healthier.
Interesting.
So, putting in people's minds the idea that health and well-being and social connection and community, that these are priorities, I think makes people live better longer.
What brings you joy right now in this season of your life that younger you would never have imagined?
Seeing my kids all grown up and yeah, seeing my kids all grown up and being like good humans, that
Hmm.
makes me like unbelievably happy. And I just never would have thought about that before. I was so
Right.
busy like saying, trying to be a good mom,
Hmm.
while I was also working, which is, it's a tricky game to play, as we
It's
all know.
true. It's true. How do you
So yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that's it.
I love that. How do you define legacy, and has that changed for you as your family and work have evolved?
Yeah, I think that legacy is a big deal. I think that when you think about legacy, you think about like what am I leaving in this world? Generally you think about it to your family, but
Hmm.
I think about it in a bigger way. I think about what is my legacy going? How will people remember me? How will people associate my name and my life? What will they associate it with? And I'm hoping I think about that, and the older I get, the more I do think about that. I think about when I wrote my book, I wanted to write the very best book I could on ageless aging. But what I think about now, every time I talk about it, is if I can help change one person so that they can have an increase in their health span or their brain span, then I'm doing good work. And, that's why ageless aging is so packed with action steps, and many of which are low cost or no cost at all, because I want to help people to live better longer. And I feel like that is my legacy.
I also think that you forget this part about you. It's how you make people feel.
Oh,
You
really?
have, yeah, you have such a beautiful way about you that you make people feel good. And I think on top of your work being incredibly important and impactful and powerful, but I think the way you make people feel is huge and it's a beautiful thing. So
Well, thank
add that,
you.
add
I
that to your
actually, like,
list,
what
my
do you mean
darling.
exactly?
Like, when you meet people, like how you make people feel loved and important and heard and valued. And I think that's
Good.
something that people don't really realize is such a big deal, but to me it is.
Well, thank you. I so appreciate that.
Yes. So if you could go back in time to a special moment, when would that be?
Oh gosh, there's so many, Christina. I feel like I've been very lucky in life. I've had some good times and bad times, and I feel like I try to take the bad times and learn something from it, and maybe grow from it, and maybe even turn it into a good time, if you will.
Right. Yeah.
So I would have to say, the fact that uh, the birth of my kids would be way up there. Getting
Right.
married would be way up there. I mean, I've been married. This is an interesting thing, and it's kind of a fun thing. So, my marriage to Ken was my second marriage. My first marriage was a total failure, what I refer to as a starter marriage. But yeah, but Ken and I got married on Thanksgiving, and we had a very small, intimate wedding and then a big party the next day. And we had such a good time at it that Ken turned around and said to me, "Hey, we should do this every year." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" And he says, "No,
That.
really, we should renew our wedding vows every single year." And I thought about it for a minute and I said, that's a great idea, but let's turn it into a vacation. Let's go away to a different place and get married by a different religious or spiritual entity every single year. And then let's take that time while we're away to think about our relationship, to think about what worked, what didn't work, what could we do better to have a better year next year.
Oh, I
And
love
yeah,
that.
we do that.
That's
And I will tell
beautiful.
you, it's one of the smartest things that we have ever done.
I love that. Do you have a favorite motto or quote?
I don't think I do. You know, I wake up every morning and say, this is, and I mean this, I get this from my mom. She said, you have a choice every morning to be, when you wake up and look in the mirror, you have a choice to say, I'm going to be happy or not. And
Right.
while
I
I
agree.
don't quite see it that way, I do think that you can have a positive attitude towards things, or you could have a more negative. I mean, there's two ways of looking at
It's happiness
everything.
is a choice. Definitely. I
Yeah, I
agree.
think that there is a certain amount of choice involved, and I try to choose to be on the positive side of things.
What would people be surprised to know about you?
I don't know. What do you think?
That you're 75.
Um, Maybe they'd be surprised to know that that retiring, the whole concept scares me to death, and I have no desire to do it because I absolutely love what I do.
Hmm.
Uh, so maybe that, and I say that, no, I think that the reason that maybe some people don't like hearing that is because it makes them uncomfortable in their choices. And,
Hmm.
you know, my, my choices for me, I don't necessarily judge other people. And I really don't. Maybe that's the surprise. I am
Oh,
super
that you don't.
non-judgmental about
Hmm.
people.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful quality.
I think that,
Um,
we're all different. We all have different priorities. And as you know, I know this sounds very woo-woo, but we're all connected. And I think, I mean, there's certainly things that are out there right now in the world of politics that I cannot be happy about. But I try to not focus on that. I try to focus on what's working.
no, I love that. What would you tell your 20-year-old self if you would go back to give her some advice? What do you think it would be?
I think I'd give myself about three different pieces of advice.
Okay.
By the way, everyone, she did not tell me any of these questions in advance,
I did not.
which is why I'm like hesitating. Okay, so one, I would tell myself to be patient,
Hmm.
that you don't have to rush through everything, and just to stop and enjoy the moment. So,
Hmm.
that's one thing. Second, to be a little kinder,
Hmm.
recognize that being loving and kind and appreciative of other people matters a lot more than any other kind of success. And that brings me to the third one, which is that, success comes in all different forms. It's not just, most people in my generation judge it from a financial perspective
Hmm.
and from a prominence perspective. I think that the younger generations, I love the fact that they judge success very differently.
It's
Do I
true.
have balance in my life? Am I
Hmm.
happy? Am I
Hmm.
doing the things that bring joy? And I don't know. I think that's pretty cool that this younger generation looks at us and has learned something.
That's true. What have I not asked you that you'd like to share today?
You've asked me a lot of things.
Yeah, but I gave you no notice, so I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I don't mind. I like it. I think it's fun.
They're all
Um,
about you, so they're nothing. It's not like a
I
questions you don't
think
know.
that, I don't know. I think, well, one of the things that a lot of people ask me, because some people like it, some people hate it, this whole ageless aging. Some people say,
Yeah.
well, why do I want it to be ageless? Well, I came up with the term a long time ago, and part of why I came up with it is I looked it up in the dictionary and I saw that the first word that came after ageless when it was defining ageless was
Uh-huh.
timeless. And
Timeless. Wow.
yeah, so we
Interesting.
can't be time. I mean, we can't
Right.
hold back the hands of
Right.
time, but we can be timeless. We can find ways to make the most of every moment and
Right.
find ways to live better longer. And they may be very small little tweaks, or they may be big changes, but
Right.
things that can make us thrive as we get older, to have mental clarity, physical vitality, and a sense of purpose.
I love that. Maddy, thank you for showing us that aging is not a decline, it's a transformation. Your research, advocacy, and leadership are changing the narrative for women and men for future generations. To my viewers, if you want to live not just longer, but better, please read Ageless Aging. Maddy is amazing. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep moving forward. I'm Christina Flach, and I'm too busy. Thank you so much.